Hello world, it's been a little while. It's been about 2 to 3 months since I uploaded my last video, and it's been a little bit later since my last stream. I just want to make this into one big video. Basically, we're going to do two things. One is thank you so much for 10k subscribers. I can absolutely not believe that. And the other thing is a little bit of an update of where I've been, what's been happening while I've gone, and what's going to happen in the future. The only reason I'm doing it into two videos, so it might be a bit longer, simply because there's probably going to be some things people want to ask on one video, and it'll probably be answered in the other, if that makes sense. So it may be a bit longer, but that's what it is. So first off, obviously, thank you so much for 10k. I can absolutely not believe that. I mean, it's been a bit of time now. We're just past 11k now, which is absolutely crazy. But I did say, and I put out on a community post on the community tab, that I was going to do a bit of a Q&A for 10k, so that's exactly what we're doing here. Now, the Q&A that I did or was going to do for 5k, I never answered those questions either, so I'm going to put the two together here. So some questions that are going to be flashing up on screen, they are from like 11 months ago when I did that post, which is pretty crazy that it was 11 months ago that we did that. So we have a handful of questions here. We're going to go through them. The first one is going to be by Alexander. Very simple. Dog or cat? I'm going to say dog. Easy. Next question. Next we have from Ariel. We have, can you make videos about more types of mods, since most of your mods are tech ones, or do you just prefer techs to other types? Now, this question, it was from the 5k quick Q&A, so it was a long time ago, and since then we have done other magic mods such as Britannia and Ars Nouveau, so I have done since other things than just tech mods, but I know that a lot of things have been more tech based. I mean, I personally do love tech mods, but we do want to do others. Now, as some of you know, at the end of a series of mods, I like to put a poll out in the community tab that is all about what you guys want to see next. Now, we have done, obviously, loads of magic mods. We've done Ars Nouveau, Britannia, as I said, Astral Sorcery, Blood Magic, and so on and so forth. But there are other things I want to do. I want to do some dimension-based mods, maybe things like the Twilight Forest, although everyone's done that before, Blue Sky, the Bumble Zone, and plenty other things I'd like to try, as well as some other storage type things. I know I've done already refined storage and AE2, but maybe some smaller things like simple storage networks, XNet, blah blah blah. So there's a lot of things I want to explore. Now, there are other things as well that I could probably do one-off videos. I can't think of any mods off the top of my head that you guys may want to see. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see those types of videos as well, and then just the big series, just these off-the-cuff one video review or mod spotlights. If you guys want to see that, then let me know, and hopefully I can do that. Next, we have Ben with, why did you choose to start YouTube? And if so, could you give any tips to new YouTubers, or what a new YouTuber what would they be? Or if I could give any tips to a new YouTuber, what would they be? That makes more sense. So why did I start YouTube? Basically, it was a dream of mine. I wanted to be a YouTuber ever since I was like 12 or 13, which is a fairly long time ago now, it feels like. Anyway, I mean, I grew up watching people like KSI, PewDiePie, KWR Speedy, Vanos as well, all of those guys, when they were a lot smaller. I mean, one of the newer faces, I would say, compared to those guys is Smitty. I mean, I watched him from when he was at 200,000 subscribers, which still sounds like a hell of a lot, of course, but compared to where he is now, it's almost nothing in comparison, I would say. But yeah, it's just really been my dream to do my own creativity and stuff. So I started this channel in 2019, and I first started doing just Let's Play videos, which didn't really hit the mark. And I did take a little gap because I was doing Let's Play videos of games. I think the actual only game I ended up doing it was Darksiders 2, and I actually never finished that game, to be honest. But for tips wise, it goes into how I started really as well. So everyone always says that you need to pick a niche, which is true. You need to be consistent, and you need to be what's on new and trending, blah blah blah, which all do make sense and they do work. To a degree. I tried this when I first started, more when I really tried to kick off my channel. It's September 2020, and I started doing Let's Plays again, but not of games, of Minecraft. Tried a few different series, didn't work. Then I started streaming over on Twitch, and I was chopping up the Twitch streams into episodic parts of SevTech Ages of the Sky. That was fun. I did grow a little bit, but it was almost nothing. And I was started doing let's plays of games. I was doing the Spyro Reignited trilogy and the Crash Bandicoot remake trilogy as well. And I was going in between those games. So there's 6 games. It took me nearly 2 years, I think, or maybe a year and a half to actually do all 6 games of those. And I never actually got to the very end of SevTech wise in the actual pack. I got to like the last mission and I had to make like loads of quantum thingamabobs, I forget what they're called, and I just couldn't do it. It was way too long. It was going to take thousands of more hours and I couldn't do it. So after that I pivoted, and this is where my tips come in. Go into something that's actually searchable. Now a lot of people say that you can actually, it's easier to make a viral video than it is to make a series of videos that say have a consistent 40,000 views. I mean, I can't even do that. I am no good at that, but I started off with the tutorials. That's where I went. I went tutorial based, it was searchable, people are searching for it now, and some of my views now have 250,000 likes, not likes, views. And that's incredible. I never thought it would be that. It took a lot of time, trust me, it wasn't a viral hit, and I wasn't expecting it ever to be, but it's got to the point now where we've grown to this size of community, 11,000 subscribers now. That's absolutely insane. So that's been my tip. Find your niche still. Find something you want to take a topic in. If you've got multiple topics, go to Google Trends, see what's actually sort of not necessarily trending, but has a good constant sort of search, and then make a video on that, something that's searchable. It's a great way to get started, because truth be told, until you're an authority on something, no one actually cares what you're saying. If you came out with something like whatever it is, you were straight spitting facts, unless you're an authority and you're not the guy there with just 0 subscribers, no one's going to care what you say. So that would be my advice. Bit of long-winded advice, but try and get something searchable. I tried browsable and it didn't work off the right away. Now that I've got a bit of a following, hoping I can do something a little bit more browsable, but we'll see. That was a bit of a long one there. Anyway, next question is from Dus, and they say, what are your personal favorite mods and or mod packs? Now, for me, there have been so many mods that have come and gone. Like, I really love Mechanism. From now, I really love Astral Sorcery, but I wouldn't quite say they're my favorites. For me, personally, it was from way back in the beginning, Industrial Craft 2 or Buildcraft. Those were my personal favorites when I was younger. When I first started getting into modding, they were my first mods, and they were in the mod pack of the Technic pack. One of the first, if not the first, besides the original Feed the Beast mod pack that came out. I wouldn't say, however, Technic pack was my favorite mod pack. I would have to say that is something completely different, but for me, my favorite mod is Industrial Craft 2 or Buildcraft. I can't quite put my finger on which one, but the whole automation side of it completely blew my mind when it came to early Minecraft. My favorite mod pack is something from a little bit later. It was probably 1.12, I think, and that is actually Age of Engineering. It's a quest-based pack, all age-related, something similar to SevTech and GregTech, if you've seen those on my channel or from anyone else's channel. So it's got progression like that, except it's all tech-orientated and it's a lot simpler. It's a good sort of first step into tech mods with basic automation and stuff. It's a lot of fun, and I think to this day it's the only pack I've ever actually finished. It was a long time ago I played it, but I really did enjoy it and everything in those packs. Okay, next is apparently from the leader of North Korea. We've got King Jong-un ask, room tour when? Now, unfortunately for right now, this setup, you're never going to see a room tour, trust me. I mean, even this shelf behind me here, it's all just clutter. Luckily on stream, you pretty much only see this side of the computer. For now, as things are, there's room tours never going to happen. It's cluttered. I've got my wardrobe in here where I keep my clothes. There's spare parts for my PC. Behind me, there's loads of things. This room will never have a room tour. However, this year, if all goes to plan, I'm hoping to build my outhouse, shed, man cave, whatever you want to call it. And that is going to be the place where half of it's actually going to be storage, truth be told, but the second half is actually going to be my office. I'm hoping to have sort of my Lego builds like this on the wall. I built an Imperial Star Destroyer. It took me a year and a half to do by the end of it. I want that mounted on the wall. I want to have a green screen in there. I want to have better lighting. I want to have a few more cameras so you guys can see a few more things. And I want to be able to integrate the streams a little bit more so you guys can do commands in chat, maybe affect the lights. Or I saw one thing in where someone managed to make it that they were able to do a command. It took a screenshot of what was happening on stream and then it printed out like a receipt or something like that. with the picture on it. I want to do crazy things like that if I can in this room, but that'll be with a more permanent setup. This, what I have here, it's always meant to be temporary. It's always my starter bit, because I've only lived in my house for 2 years now, so I've still not had the chance to really do any development sort of things and change things up. So hopefully this year I can move over there, and maybe then we'll get a room tour, most likely. Still probably going to be at least 6 months, if not more, until I get to that point, but until then, that's the plan. Lulu Porg asks, favourite Minecraft animal and why? I like this question because it's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. And I think I'm going to have to give this a bit of a simple answer as well. Like, I've never really thought of a favourite animal. And when I say animal, I'm assuming you mean just animal, not mobs as a whole, because that would be a different answer. But for mobs, for animals, sorry, I really haven't even interacted with all the animals you have in the game. Like, I rarely come across a mushroom. I've never touched the ocelot mechanics, although we have cats now, and various other things, foxes as well. Never touched them. So I reckon it's more likely going to have to be like a sheep. Now, I know that sounds a little bit cheap, but a sheep is just too versatile. One, you need a bed, they got you covered. You need food, they got you covered. If you want to dye them and have 16 different variable blocks of colours that you can build some amazing crap with, then they've got you covered. They're just an overall versatile animal, and probably one of the best ones in the game. Very easily farmable, and plus, they're cute and fluffy. So what more could you get? Will you ever do a face reveal, says one fine lad. Now, I've seen you since this comment in my chat a few times on stream, so for you, I definitely know that you have seen my face before, and for others, this actually generally might be the first time you have seen my face. So in that case, hi, here's my face. Here's the face reveal. If not, you've joined the streams before, you've definitely seen this mug before. So hi, how you doing? Now, the last question I actually had picked out here is from someone who was actually very early in this community. Their name's Virtual Paper. And this question, as you'll see, is from a little while ago now. It says, did you expect to hit 5k, now 10k, as fast as you did? And are you planning to push your next milestone, or are you just going to try and let it happen naturally? Now, as I say, it's a bit late to answer this question. We've already sort of hit the next milestone being 10k, which is still nuts. But yeah, as you can see on the screen, 11 months ago, I've managed to double the subs in 11 months. We were at 5, now we're at 11. So more than double, which is absolutely insane. But to answer the question in a nutshell, yeah, I am going to push for the next milestone. I want to make this year a little bit better than last year. I managed to double my subs in about 11 months. Let's see if I can double them again and more. So my next milestone for 2024 is going to be 25,000 subs. If we get there, that's going to be amazing. I want to try and do a little bit more videos. I want to go sort of back to the Let's Plays. I know I've tried doing the volcano block. I do want to continue the volcano block. There's a couple of things I want to try and do with that to just help me out with some time. I'm thinking about hiring an editor, basically. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I want to push a bit more this year with YouTube and reach that milestone. As well as that, I want to try and do other platforms as well if I can. I am on Twitch. I know they've changed things now so you can actually multi-stream now, so I might try and get affiliate again, see how that goes. We've on Kick as well. Maybe I can do a bit more TikTok this year. Who knows? It'll be fun. And for now, that is actually all the questions that I had picked out. But there were 2 more questions that I just want to address, that because these have been asked so many times across so many videos that I just thought, why not stick it in here, because it just makes sense. The first one is going to be, what is the top display that I have on all my tutorial videos? The top thing that says like what I'm looking at, or where it says like cobblestone or something, or I'm looking at a machine and it says what the process is doing. Now that mod I use is called Jade, Jade. It's a very good mod. I think it's one of the best ones. There are other types. I think even possibly some of the earlier ones, like the Blood Magic ones, I did them in 1.7.10, some of it. So that Jade wasn't around then. So that was Whaler. There is also Hawaii. Here's what you're looking at. Whaler is what am I looking at. So they're forks of each other. I think there's another one as well. Like this is what you're looking at, maybe. So they're different ones. There's also the One Probe as well, which I find to be a little bit more basic, but it's still very good. It's just for me personally, I like using Jade the most. Besides that, the other question I get and I know some of you are going to get annoyed with this as well. It's why are you showing recipes in your videos of some respect? It's like everyone's got JEI, it's just wasting time, it's packing out the video, it's not needed. Now, I have addressed this before. I try and reply to all these comments, and I have put it out on the community feed as well, but obviously not everyone sees that, so I just want to put it in the video. Personally, I don't even like putting the recipes in the video. It is tedious, it's annoying to go back and forth between the recipe. Sometimes the recipe isn't in JEI and I actually have to look on the wiki, which is an argument to do it because other people had that problem as well. But there are multiple reasons why I still do it. For one, a lot of people, they don't have JEI. Just straight up, they don't have it. Either it's their first time modding, they're playing a mod pack that has it locked early on, they're playing a pack that has changed the recipes maybe. Well, that's kind of a second point. They've changed the recipes, so things like Vault Hunters, they've changed the recipes in there. Things like all the mods for the progression, they've changed the recipes. And all my tutorials are for like the vanilla version of the mod, the basic version of the mod. So some people will be able to decipher where things have changed. So that's another reason. And two, some people just need that extra step. So some people, again, if they're straight into modding, this is the first time they're ever modding, they're going to need that extra step of help, because most of my tutorials, they're not just like, right, here you go, like for mechanism, here's the fission reactor, here's the best setup you can do no matter what, this is all you're going to need to know. A lot of people, that's just what they want. They just want the best stuff ever. But for me, I know from experience from when I was younger and I was looking for these things myself, I just wanted the best stuff. And after I built the best stuff, I then got incredibly bored. I then was just like, okay, I've done this. If I just do these handful of other things, I've basically completed a mod pack. So what's the point? I'll just stop now. So what I try to do with my tutorials is not just like, here's the best thing. It's more like, here are the things you can do. Now, with this information, go build something amazing. I don't want to show everything, like the best things, but I want to show here's the things you can do. And when you are showing the things, here's the things you can do, some people, it's the first time they're going into a mod and they need to know everything. And that is why we keep the recipes. We have actually done a poll on the community tab of asking, do people want them or don't want them? It was a little while ago now, but a lot of people did want them. They found it a lot more helpful having them there than videos that didn't have them there. So I know it can be a lot of extra time in the videos. I understand that. It takes extra time for me to build everything as well and record it and explain it. And editing it down as well. It's a lot more for me, it's a lot more for some of the viewers, but for majority of people, it helps them a lot more than you think. So that's the pure reason why I'm keeping them up, because the videos aren't for me, they're for you guys. They're to help anyone that needs these help. So that's why we've kept it, basically. So I know a lot of people, they might get a little bit annoyed at that because they don't like the fluff, and trust me, I agree with you, but it helps people more than it hinders people, which is why I'm doing that. But besides this though, besides having all these people having these little comments here and there, in prep for this video, going back to look at all these questions that people have done on my YouTube, on the comment sections and all that, there was an overwhelming amount of you saying thank you. And that has truly humbled me, really. I cannot believe we've actually got to 10k. This is absolutely incredible. The amount of people that have said thank you just because they needed that one tip that no one else has said, they couldn't find it on a wiki, and this one tip has just blown the mod wide open. Things just make sense now. Or some people that have never stepped into a mod before, like say a lot of people that have done refined storage, they've wanted to do AE2 but they just couldn't get into applying logistics, it just was too complicated, and now they can just do it. They're on their way to be master automators, and it's just wonderful. For everyone who has, you know, liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, you're all absolutely amazing, and I could not thank any of you enough for how far we've come. This community we've built, although it's still small, I still class it as the start of our community. You're all amazing. Everyone in the Discord as well, I've got it up here on screen. Some of you have been asking, where the hell have I been? You're all amazing, and I absolutely cannot believe we've made it 10k. It's been like 3 years in the making for me, really, since I truly took it seriously to get to this point, and I hope we can only go up. As I say earlier in the video, 25,000 subscribers is the goal for the end of 24, and I hope we get there. But that's the end of the Q&A section of this video. It's time to address the elephant in the room, and that's where I've been. There has been some ups while I've been gone, but there has been some downs. So if that was all you wanted for this video, I know we're already 20 minutes into recording. Who knows how much I can edit this down. But thank you guys for stopping by, and thanks for 10k. But if you want to know where I've been, this is where it's going to be, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately. So I just want to address that. Basically, I've actually written a script here, I would believe. So this may be a little bit of reading here. So my last video, it was actually 17th of October. And my last stream was the 3rd of December. So I was managing to stay with the community a little bit more after my last video. But since my last video, my personal life has been a little bit tough, basically. Some of you may know, if you've been in my streams, that obviously YouTube isn't my day job. I actually work in the film industry. I do major motion pictures. I've worked on things such as Fantastic Beasts 1, 2, and 3. I've worked on Fast and Furious 9. I did some of the Kenneth Branagh Poirot trilogy. In fact, I did all 3 of them: Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, and the most recent one, A Haunting in Venice. I've done all these films and a handful of others, and that's great. But this year, as some of you may know, the Actors Guild, SAG-AFTRA, they went on strike this year, as well as the writers. And unfortunately, that completely stopped work in England for me. Although it was America, it completely stopped work in the UK, which was devastating. I've basically been out of work since July. So by the time it got to end of October, November time, I was struggling. And I had to try and dedicate a lot more of my time to just looking for a job, which is why the videos went down. Eventually, I did manage to get a job sort of mid-November, and I started working in a pet store. I know, big change. Pet's Corner, to be specific. That's the pet store I actually joined, and it was great. Love it. I'm still there now. I love the people. They've trained me up. I'm working with customers. I've never actually done a retail job before, and it was a lot of fun. But the process of getting there, I had to slap my CV, or I suppose what's it called, resume in America, anywhere I could, and Pet's Corner took me on, and I was incredibly grateful for that. Unfortunately, by the end of it, it was taking up so much of my time that the stream started dying off as well. I was trying to keep to it. Sometimes I was late on the midweek stream, because I tried to start doing that because I thought I was going to have more time, because the working period was going to be less than I was in the film industry. But unfortunately, I couldn't keep up. However, there was some great news I had in November. My partner Lulu, some of you have seen her in the streams. She actually became pregnant. Yeah. Mid to late November, she told me she was pregnant, and we couldn't believe it. We were so happy. It was absolutely amazing. But not just only was I having to work harder now because I had a lot more responsibilities, I now had to start looking after her. I had a child on the way. The house needed doing. The bills needed paying. There was a lot more stress. I wasn't in a job that was as fruitful as the film industry, so there was a lot of stress. I had to basically walk away from YouTube for a little bit. I had to try and make ends meet, and things became a little bit more stressful, unfortunately. I did try and do the YouTube for a bit, but that's why I only want like 2 or 3 streams happen afterwards. I had to provide more for Lulu, and I had to provide more for the house, and we actually ended up getting a pet bird as well a few months prior. Should have mentioned that earlier, but some of you have seen him in the stream. I had a pet, I had Lulu, house needed doing, a lot of stress going on. The only saving grace, however, with this being all this on my mind, is that on the December 16th, we actually went to Austria. Some of you may know, again from the stream, loads of things happen in the stream, or if you're in the Discord, I started learning snowboarding in February of 2023, and come the 16th of December, I went to Austria for the first time to go snowboarding. Now, unfortunately, Lulu, as she became pregnant, she couldn't quite go as hard as she wanted. She didn't snowboard as much as she wanted. She did love seeing the sights, though. The scenery was absolutely incredible. I'll throw up some videos here. It's sort of a POV perspective of me snowboarding. It was a lot of fun. I couldn't change it for the world. I went over a couple of ramps, which I'd never done before, and sometimes it was snowing so hard, it was literally snowing sideways. You could barely see 10 foot in front of you, and you can't describe that sort of adrenaline rush. It was absolutely insane. It was me, Lulu, and my mum as well, because we'd all been learning that entire time, but it was absolutely incredible, and I could not believe how good it was, the experience it was. But I'm not going to delve too deep into that. Unfortunately, though, by the end of the holiday, I started feeling a little bit ill. I thought it was just going to be a little bit of a cold because I've been in the cold. I've been up in the mountain. I've been pushing my body a bit harder. I was coming home or to the hotel in the warmth. I was going hot, cold. And people know that's just how you end up feeling a bit sick. We get back home 23rd of December, and Lulu, she's fallen down a couple of times while we're on the slopes, so she's worried about the baby. So we go get a scan on the 24th, and this is where things took a big U-turn from the high we had on holiday. Unfortunately, from the scans, things didn't look good from the child. Not because of the snowboarding, not because of the falling. For whatever reason, the child didn't look any bigger than the size of 5 weeks. And at this point, it was 10 weeks. Now, this was devastating for us to hear. It's Christmas Eve, and we've basically been told that we could be losing our child. We tried calling our midwife. We tried calling any early pregnancy units in the area, and everywhere was closed. It was Christmas time, and apparently, according to the NHS, people don't have crises during this period. It's Christmas time. So everything was shut until the 27th. So we had 3 days stuck at home in our minds, wondering if this child's going to be okay. Christmas Day comes the next day, obviously. We go see our family. But at this point, we hadn't told anyone the good news. And as extension, we hadn't told anyone the bad news. So we had to just basically put on a brave face. Christmas night, 25th December, I'm feeling incredibly bad. Not just mentally, out of stress, but my illness has got worse. I had the worst nights of my sleep of my life. I was up and down all night, sweating, shivering, almost throwing up. I test the next day for COVID, and it's positive. So not only is there the threat of this miscarriage, but I myself am so unhealthy now, I am a direct threat to Lulu. So we have to quarantine from each other. So not only are we now stressing in our own minds, but we've now separated from each other because I can't infect her and the baby. 27th rolls round. She has to go to hospital by herself. Understandably so, but I'm not allowed in the hospital. I've got COVID. So she has to go and bear it at her own. They tell her, yes, it's most likely going to be a failed pregnancy. It's most likely going to be a miscarriage. Hearing this news is very hard to say. It's hard to put into words exactly what went through my mind when she came home and told me this news. But I felt mostly awful is that I couldn't have been there with her. Not by my fault, by any means, and I know that, and she knows that. But it's one of those things. You just feel useless. It didn't take too much longer until she fell with COVID as well. So we've both got COVID. We've both been given this bad news. There is slight hope because we're told we'll give it another week and do another scan, see what happens. But it's not looking good. New Year's rolls around. We're starting to feel a little bit better. We try and take our minds off it, and we actually go to London and we go see the fireworks in person. We're actually on a boat. Got a good view of it. It was a lot of fun. I'll slap up some videos here. We had a good time. But there was still that feeling in the back of our minds. Even though I had COVID, I only had a couple of days off from work in that final week of the year. I still had to go to work, and I put on a brave face. I went to work in the first week of the year. I had to put on a brave face and pretend like nothing happened. No one knew. They knew I had COVID. I had to call in sick a couple of times, but I had to make ends meet still. There was bills to pay. Eventually, the 5th of January comes round. This is when our final scan happened for the baby. Luckily, Lulu had actually told her mum about what's happening, as we decided we couldn't deal with this alone. And that is where we are told finally the baby that's growing, the sort of embryo inside, it's imploding. It's a failed pregnancy, and the only option is to terminate. She was given 3 options: standard abortion, wait, or take this pill to sort of speed up the process. She opted for the pill. Little did we know, and we weren't prepared of the aftermath of this pill. Now, for some people, it may be a bit graphic. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we were in for one of the worst nights of our lives. It didn't happen immediately. 24 hours later, the miscarriage started, and Lulu went into immense pain. So much pain, it was almost like she was giving birth herself right there and then, except this time there was no reward at the end. There was no child, only suffering. Now, I know for a lot of people, I know some of you are a little bit younger, so this might be graphic, but there was blood. A lot of blood. There was sick. There was pain. There was emotions, tears flying. Lulu was in so much pain. Also still recovering from COVID, so was I. And I could not help her. I could only hold her hair, rub her back and tell her things are going to be okay and try and be strong for her. 4 hours this went on for, to the point where Lulu was white in the face, so pale. I had to rush her to A&E, which is accident and emergency, the ER room in America for any Americans in there, at midnight. And they took one look at her and rushed her straight in, which is a rarity for the NHS, really. The amount of times I've been in A&E and we've sat there for 6 hours waiting for Perlman to help us. We were in straight in, so we knew it was serious. She was whacked straight on this massive bottle of painkiller. I don't know what it was, but it was strong painkillers, straight in on IV. She had a cannula in her arm, in her hand, straight in. She was so dehydrated, they gave her 1 litre of IV fluids that she had to take within an hour, which was absolutely insane. She had immense cramps, still throwing up. Doctors threw the book at her. Sorry, choking up. But in the end, she ended up okay. She was healthy. Her life wasn't threatened. It was over physically, but not mentally. We both went home at about 4 a.m. in the morning after near 8 hours of pain and torture, where I could mostly stand idly by. And this was very taxing on both of us. Not just Lulu physically, but both of us mentally. And this was one of the hardest parts of both of our lives. She, very bravely, 2 days later, was meant to start back at work and went straight back into work. But when she got to the gate, she broke down in tears straight away and was sent home. Luckily, this week, because this all happened a week ago, would you believe? She had the week off and recovered. I, myself, had to keep going to work to make ends meet, show face. However, at this point, we are both on the mend. We're both happy. Well, as happy as we can be. Lulu is going to start going to the gym. She's going to do a bit of a diet. She's going to try and change her aspect of life around, which I'm very proud for her. I myself, I'm going to try and get back into YouTube, which is why we're making this video. And as I said earlier in the video, prepping for this and seeing all the thank yous, seeing all the where's Mondays at, like, where are the videos, where have you been, we need the streams. It's so... I've got no words. It's so unbelievably breathtaking that you guys are there waiting for us to come back. Because Lou and I know I'm here doing the YouTube, but she comes into stream every now and then. You guys are absolutely amazing waiting for us. I know a lot's happened, and I hope you understand why I haven't been here. But I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back now. This video, it's now the 12th of the 1st. This video may come out today. It might come out tomorrow. I'm not too sure yet. But you guys are amazing. And I'm so thankful all of you guys have stuck around. Seeing all the thank yous from you guys has been the most amazing thing I've ever seen before, and it has honestly reinvigorated my passion for YouTube. Just seeing how many people I've helped, the community we've built, the amazing stories, the artwork that's going on in the Discord, the server as well. It's all amazing. From this point on, I'm going to just try and leave 2023 behind me. And I want to make 2024 not only the best year of mine and Lulu's lives, but the best year for you guys when it comes to YouTube. I want to give you guys the best stuff I can, if I can, and hopefully things will go back to normal now, if not with a little bit extra. So I know this was a lot to say, a lot to take in, but for the first time of this year, guys, take care.